Friends, I'm Anil Jain, and I'm going to tell you my story, which is full of serious U-turns, and how could I manage that actually. I belong to a very ordinary middle-class family, but I have been blessed with the God since my birth. I passed out my class 12 at the age of 15 with exceptional performance, and my aspiration to join an engineering college could not be fulfilled at that time because the minimum age requirement for the engineering college was 16 years. So I had to enroll myself in a Bachelor of Science course, and I was lucky to be a graduate at the age of 17 with an outstanding performance. Although I abandoned the idea of joining the engineering college, but the God had other plans. Unexpectedly, I got admission in a very prestigious institute, which is one of the IIT now, based on my performance in the class 12. So that was the first turning point of my life. And during my tenure of 4 years in the esteemed engineering institute, I found an exceptional difference in the curriculum. Each student was required to select 2 sports every semester, and the passing in those sports were mandatory, and that contributed to the final grades. I was fortunate enough to select one of the sports as yoga at that time, and this proved invaluable in my life. I started practicing yoga, and I made it a part of my life. And at that time, when I was an engineering student, I had 2 medical problems. One was my weak eyesight, which necessitated the use of specs at the age of 15 years. And second was my continuous ongoing struggle with the migraine, which was non-treatable as per the medical science. And immediately after passing out engineering, I embarked upon the most important competitive examination for position in the government of India. I was lucky to get that position and got selected in a senior position in the government of India. And the second event that happened in my life and that completely reshaped my outlook on the life was a serious car accident. I was involved in a serious car accident, and firstly, there are 2 important things. My colleagues forewarned me about this accident, and this accident had a deep cut on my right hand and with numerous fractures. Nobody could believe that this man could be saved after this accident. And to my great surprise, and with the help of my colleagues and the remedies administered by my wife, I could recover within a period of 1 month, and I could join the work. And at that time, even the most senior orthopedic surgeon, he told me that such type of results are not possible in the medical science. Apart from that, in the meantime, my wife had a medical condition known as scleroderma. And it had become so serious that it affected her kidneys, and both the kidneys became dysfunctional. But after she was discharged from the hospital, she recovered the kidneys, and that also nobody could believe, and her kidneys became normal. But after 12 years, this scleroderma surfaced again, and leading to the prolonged hospitalization, and ultimately she covered a cardiac arrest, and we could not save her life. And the death of my wife completely shattered me. I was overwhelmed with the panic, worry, and all type of grief. I never believed that God can be so cruel to me. And both the daughters were settled in the USA. So I found alone in this world. And it was really incredibly difficult and overwhelming experience when I was trying to cope up with all my grief. My wife brought me an abundance of love, joy, and warmth in my life. She told me the real meaning of sacrifice, love, and resilience, leaving behind a legacy of kindness and compassion. I was trying to cope up with this tragedy, and without knowing what to do, I was in search of the meaning of the life and the solace which I could get from this type of tragedy. And suddenly, because I had a strong belief in the God, I had an encounter with a great Buddhist monk from the Ladakh region of India. And after being with him for about a month, for about an hour, when I was just going to leave, he insisted that I should accompany him to the Ladakh. It was really a serious turn of event in my life. I never believed that I will go to Ladakh like this with a Buddhist monk, being a Jain. Anyway, I decided, in spite of all the resistance, next day we went to Ladakh. I was not prepared for this journey. I was really very concerned because I didn't know what lay ahead. But when I reached Ladakh, and when I was in the company of that revered monk, and I heard about various terms like heaven, Shangri-La. I read about these terms, but never knew what these terms look like. But I can now say with certainty that if anybody want to experience this concept in the life, he should visit Ladakh. And not only Ladakh, but the organization created by that great Buddhist monk. This is a NGO which is created on the piece of 250-acre barren land in Ladakh. And you will surprised to know that his tireless efforts have completely transformed the lives of lakhs and lakhs of tribal, marginalized, poor people who are the inhabitants of the most difficult terrain in the world. And after staying with him, I decided to change my life. I decided that I should get involved in various humanitarian activities with them. I never believed that encounter with him will be a beacon of light for me, guiding me in the most difficult period of my life. But his continuous association guided me and helped me to navigate through the most difficult period of my life. COVID-19 pandemic played an unprecedented havoc worldwide. And unluckily, I also became a victim of that. And the ambulance arrived late in the evening. It was a surreal experience, traveling alone in the ambulance with the soaring nerves. I never imagined that I have to travel like this to go to the hospital. And when I reached hospital, I had a harrowing experience. Within a couple of days, my lungs became totally damaged. Nobody can believe. And the D-dimer level, one day doctor told me that D-dimer level has reached to the level which is unprecedented in the medical history. We discussed in detail. He was sitting with me, the doctor. And what he said, Mr. Jain, now we cannot help. Medical science cannot help now. And any eventuality can happen at any time. And still when I think of the word of doctor at that time, the shivers, my spine starts shivering actually. Okay, how I managed that time also. I told doctor, I requested doctor, please wait for a time, please wait for a day at least before you consider any emergency procedures. And suddenly, luckily the doctor agreed. And next day or the entire day, I meditated. I did what we learned actually through this ancient Indian tradition. And next day when all the tests were conducted, to the surprise of everyone, this D-dimer level came down. There's a marginal difference. And naturally the joy overwhelmed with the doctor, all medical staff, and my eyes filled with the tears of relief. And nobody could believe that this can happen. And within about 10 days time, my lung became normal. And today you can see me, my lungs are totally normal, there's absolutely no problem. Since my journey, I have been involved in the spiritual activities, meditation activities, lot of social activities. And I found that compassion is the most important, most potent source to solve the various problems of the life. And compassion is a thing which proposes a strategy of complementing rather than confronting and crushing each other. So my journey has been going on for the last 45 years. I am working with that great revered Buddhist monk. And I have been able to navigate through my most difficult, the darkest phase of my life. And the other source of strength that I get is from my students. all my beloved students, maybe lakhs and lakhs of students, when they show the respect or the affection, I get a lot of energy. And this, you can say that with the students, or I'm really grateful to the God that to give me that opportunity in the life. My life is going on, my journey is going on, and I find a lot of things in my life. Life is full of compassion. If you have do hard work, you are honest, you are dedicated, you can achieve anything in the life. At this age also, I don't need any medicine. I do not suffer from any problem. I came out with all the difficulties, all the problems which one could imagine. And what I can say now that although I cannot erase the memories of the past, but now I am content and fulfilled with my life, with the journey in my life, and I can only say that this can be a guide to the others. Thank you so much.